Hello everyone and welcome to another video and podcast coming to you from Experience Kills. I have the lovely Ben with me. How are you doing today?
I'm very good. It's lovely to be here, Rob.
Excellent. So we're here to talk about a nice little game here today. It's called Yes, Your Grace. We got a couple of codes sent to us by Brave at Night. They're the developers. It was published by No More Robots. Firstly, I just like those names.
They're great names. They're really, really good developer and publisher names. And we deal with a lot of bad named people. There's just a lot of bad names out there. But these are good names. Well done on the names.
Branding, wonderfully done. Weird thing to compliment first, but it just has to be said. I'm just going to go into it. So, see, the game itself, Yes, Your Grace, it's kind of a role-playing game. It's kind of a management game as well. It's an interesting blend. So you play as the main character. You're the king, the ruler of a fictional kingdom called Davon. I might be wrecking the pronunciation, but that's fine. And you essentially have to run your kingdom.
It's cool, isn't it? It's what's different about this as a management game. Most times management games are quite obfuscated, pulled back, you got the isometric view or whatever, and you're building things and you're placing stuff. This is much more about conversational. This is much more about talking to your petitioners who are coming in for assistance, needing help from you, talking to your family, the royal family, talking to your advisors and other kings and queens, and making decisions which then impact your kingdom. But you do have that end of day thing as well, because it's done in a day cycle, isn't it? A week cycle, sorry. And then you have that end of the week, and you have those options to build stuff or get stuff or send people out and do things. But for the most part, it's this really unique perspective for a management game, and I really dig that. I love it, and the fact is that the writing is so strong as well, and it really pulls you into it.
The work they've done on the writing for this game is brilliant. Like, all of the characters, they don't speak. There's noise when they engage in conversation.
Yes.
But how they're written, it all sounds very unique. The characters do come across with distinct individual personalities.
The way I would describe it is a cross between Simlish and how Jabba the Hutt sounds. Yeah,
that's a very good description. But I like it. It doesn't take away anything from the game. If anything, it adds to it. It's that nice feeling. The dialogue, like we said, has been masterfully well written. There's some funny moments in there, some serious moments.
It gets really dark.
The story beats can be quite hefty. We were talking about it before, and you were saying it was kind of like Game of Thrones light, almost. Kind of in a setting and the concepts. And I
would be really surprised to hear if it wasn't inspired by something like Game of Thrones. It has that really distinct, the machinations of court. That the stuff that goes on in a royal family, and the politics, but also the interpersonal dynamics between the different members of the family. The idea of selling, of marrying off. I need to say selling off daughters, because that's kind of what it does kind of amount to, isn't it? Marrying off daughters.
In the first 12 or the first 10 weeks, I'd sold off one of my daughters for an army, so I did feel a little bad.
But that was the lesser of two evils right there. I mean, seriously, mate, it was that or the Dothraki horde equivalent,
exactly.
Whatever is coming across from the evil realms that is going to come and take your daughter away. And I think what's great is that the writing really conveys not just these kind of big plot points, but a very distinct human personalities to the characters as well. And they have the same sort of strengths and weaknesses of anybody, and the same doubts and the same insecurities. And I think humanizing these quite often sort of obfuscated, larger than life characters down to that level is what makes this game so engaging, as well as how accessible it is. And I think that's a really cool balance that they've achieved here.
Yeah, I completely agree. The one thing I did struggle with, though, is getting my economy up and running. You will sometimes have petitioners come to you in the morning or the Monday of your week, and they'll say, "Oh, we would like to build a tavern or an inn, and can we borrow some gold or borrow some supplies for this, so we can get this going." And then they build it. They come back to you and go, "Well, because it's been successful, we'll give you a gold a week." And considering things get very expensive, I am struggling a little bit to get my economy kind of going. There is kind of a loan system. There's kind of a banking system that you can borrow money through, but the payments back for that are quite aggressively high. And there's no way to kind of scale that to be a little bit more balanced. So that's one thing I'm struggling a little bit with at the moment.
What I found was, if you help people, there'll often be unforeseen lump sum rewards for assisting people who don't necessarily have an obvious benefit for helping them. So I've had that happen a couple of times. But yeah, I had to take out a loan. I've had to do all that as well. I feel like you need to be quite aggressive with your kind of spending to actually get the rewards you need. But no, I know I'm crashing and burning, but it's kind of fun doing that. I mean, it does that thing with the sort of framing device where you start the game at the final battle, right? Yeah. Everything seems to have gone to shit. So I feel like it might be inevitable that failure is the only option here. So, but it also encourages, of course, repeat playthroughs as well, as do the achievements. A couple of things I wanted to sort of shout out to here is that I really like the music. I think the music is beautiful. And I've often let it idle on the main menu just to listen to it. It's really, really nicely done. And the game obviously has this, how should we say it? It's not exactly a distinct visual style, but it's a pixel art visual style that I feel like is very much something that they was chosen because it's a small, independent UK developing team. You know, there's only like 5 or 6 of them in there, and you know they're allocating their resources to where their strengths lie. And I think that's in the writing, and I think that's in the whole kind of decision mechanic and the management mechanics. It's not necessarily in the visual presentation. It's not bad in any way. I think the pixel art style works perfectly well for this game, but it's also not remarkable. I've seen plenty of games that look like this at the same time.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like the graphics are wonderful. They're very endearing. The style in which they've been done is wonderful. Like the interiors of the various different rooms in the castles that you can go and visit are very well designed. And transitioning between these rooms is very nice. There's no menu system. You don't have to press buttons. You just walk off the side of the screen and then the castle pops up in front of you and you pick which room you want to go into. It's very well designed from a UI perspective there. Like the execution of it is brilliant. So I
very intuitive.
Yeah, very intuitive.
Very intuitive. I'd say I had a couple of issues with getting around menus a little bit on the controller. Just selecting that flower to take you to the end of the week is a bit annoying with a controller because you kind of have to be out, then you get to that menu and then you have to select it, and it's not always clear if you have it selected or not. This is an obvious issue with a game that's been ported from PC, and I think it would be obviously far more intuitive with a mouse and keyboard, but you know, it works well enough. It's just a little bit clunky and could be maybe optimized a little bit. I do want to mention one thing, right? We were sent these codes because the game has been optimized on the Series S and X. I can't tell you what the hell that optimization is. It doesn't have quick resume. It's a pixel art game. I can't see what look like 4K assets. I don't know. Like what's a 4K pixel art asset even going to look like?
Can you do pixel art in 4K? Is that possible?
I mean, it's a resolution, isn't it? So I mean, I guess you could. Maybe it's just been like the resolution of the game is now native 4K or something. So it just. But you wouldn't notice the difference, I don't think, even if it wasn't. I mean, it runs perfectly fine, but it ran perfectly fine on my old Xbox as well, so I couldn't tell you what this enhancement was. But I'm glad that gave us the codes, because I think it's a fun little game that probably isn't on a lot of people's radar, probably not something people are aware of in a big way on console. I know it's actually had very good reception, very positive critical reception already up to this point, and I can see why. It's really well made, and I think it's very indicative of the No More Robots publishing style. It's this kind of unique, independent, British or European game that's really kind of surprising and come out of nowhere. And I'm really glad that these guys are bringing these sort of games out to the masses, though what these enhancements are, I could not tell you. Not a clue.
I don't think they know either, to be honest. It's definitely worth sinking some time into. If you do have some spare time or some spare money, definitely worth sinking some time into this one.
Yeah, it's reasonably priced, and there's plenty to do in this game. You know, there really is. There's quite a lot, and it goes on for quite some time. Lots of decisions to make, lots of ramifications to deal with, and I think that is what makes it a fascinating experience, and how well everything is written, and you care about these characters, and quite quickly you become very endeared to these characters, and you know, you do care about their plight because they're so human. And to be honest, to do that without any voice acting, to do that with just some writing, always brief writing as well, condensed text that still conveys a lot of character, it's really skillfully done, I have to say. Really skillfully done.
Definitely a developer I'm going to keep an eye on moving forward, I think.
Keep an eye on Brave at Night. Thank you very much to them and No More Robots for sending these codes over.
Indeed. Thank you very much, guys.
So that's been another episode of Experience Kills. Hosting this lovely episode today was Rob. He can be found at Homeless Mr. Gibbs on Twitter, and I was joined in for a little chat here as well. And my name's Ben, and you can find me at TIYE on Twitter. You can find us collectively at Experience Kills on Twitter, and you can please give us a like and subscribe on YouTube. That's really all we ask for. We're about to hit a massive milestone, and we can't wait to achieve that. But if you don't have time to watch these amazing videos, of which we've spent hours crafting them into these amazing audio-visual experiences, you can, of course, just enjoy this as a podcast as well, wherever a good podcast can be found. So until next time, I think it's time me and Rob went off and managed our way into playing some more Series X games and enjoying those. How does that sound, Rob?
I think that sounds wonderful. I think the tower is calling me once again.
See you later.